Hi, this is Richard from Electric Bike Report in the UK. Here I'll be reviewing the Swych Universal Retrofit Kit from UK company Swytch. It's available in European and US versions. Before I get into the specifics of this particular kit review, you might be wondering why anyone would want to fit a retrofit kit. Well, for me it's about being able to give this older bike an electric boost. It's been one of my favourite touring bikes over the years, but it has been languishing at the back of the shed for quite a while now. So normally I would take an e-bike out rather than choose this. I love riding it, but at 15.5 kilograms it's just a bit heavy to take up steep hills regularly, especially with the touring load on. So the Swych seemed the perfect opportunity to fit a kit and electrify it. As well as letting you electrify a favourite bike and incentivising you to get out, the kit is also a pretty economical way to add electric power to your bike. It's a full retail price for the starting option, around £1,000 or £1,000, going up to £1,200 for this larger capacity battery option. But there's also the chance to get 50% discounts if you take advantage of Swych's online pre-order windows. You can get e-bikes for less than that, complete e-bikes for less than £1,000, but these simply won't be of the same quality as the Swych, and the bike components won't be of the high quality on this as on this two-terrain touring bike. If that idea appeals to you, but you think it's just too complicated to fit the kit yourself, Swych have made it one of the easiest kits out there to fit. You can see the full fitting process further on in the video. But in essence, it's just about swapping out the front wheel, fixing on the battery pack here, and fitting a pedal sensor. And you can do all this with pretty easy to obtain bike skills. Although it wasn't the case with this particular conversion, the Swych system would also be a good option if you're looking at a lightweight e-bike. Just fit it to your existing lightweight bike and you've got a lightweight electric bike. The larger option here added about 4.4 kilos or 9.8 pounds to this bike, but the smaller battery option would add well under 4 kilos or about 8.8 pounds of extra weight. You can also see the battery pack is removable if you want to lift the bike whilst not on it, or if you want to ride it without power. It'll be even lighter and more manageable. So let's dive in and just take a look at exactly what a Swych kit consists of. First of all, you've got a small front geared hub motor down here. As you can see, it comes with disc brake mounts. All their motor wheels come with disc brake mounts with 6 Allen key bolts. My old wheel had a centre lock mounting, a different type of mounting, which is quite unusual, but it was easy just to buy a replacement disc and fit it. You'll also see just here is a small connector. This makes it very easy to disconnect the front wheel if you want to take it out for maintenance or for swapping a puncture, or for any other reason, just to clean the rim. It also features a very free running freewheel, as you can see there. Not much resistance in the wheel with the power turned off. You can get these in a standard 28-inch wheel size, 26 inches or 16-inch. Swych have all those sizes in stock, or they can build wheels to size if you have a bike you want to fit the kit to with a different size wheel you want to swap out. Next up here we come to the battery pack. That's simply connected to the motor with a power lead, with that pull-out power lead. If I just take this off here, you can see there's an interface here, wire connectors, and there is a little waterproof cover that goes over there to protect it when your battery is not on. The battery pack itself is very light and easy to carry, around 2 kilograms, 4.5 pounds, and this one is actually the larger option, 252 watt hours, and it comes with a front light in it, being the larger option. and the smaller option is 180 watt hours, around 1.5 kilos or 3 pounds. You also have your control electronics in here, so it's a really nice convenient way, and a nice anti-theft feature as well. If you park the bike, you've effectively disabled it by removing the battery pack. It's a really neat way of just bringing everything together in one pack. Lights, power controls to toggle up and down with. The only real disadvantage I found was having to remove your hands to scroll up and down the power levels here. The third main part of the kit you'll find down by the pedal sensors. This is a two-part sensor here, very discreet. A small magnetic disc fits around here, and another sensor fits onto the frame there, and you just cable tie a wire on back up to the controller here. This particular disc, it's a 12 magnet sensor. The more magnets you have, the smoother and quicker the power delivery. So 12 magnets is a good number to have on a magnet sensor. That makes a quite smooth and quick delivery. You can also see here, possibly just see that there's some cable ties where this has been mounted on. It's a system that allows you to fit it to just about any size or design of pedal crank. Even this bike, which had large external bearings, which may have made other kits very tricky to fit. You'll also be able to keep everything in check down there because there's little Allen key bolts for adjustments. So really it's a nice easy setup. It's not as easy as a throttle, but if it's a UK spec and you need to have a pedal sensor, it's a very easy way to get your power delivery. To fit a Swych kit, the first job is to remove your old front wheel. If you have a disc brake on it, you'll also need to swap it over if it is fixed on with Allen bolts. In my case, the disc brake had a centre lock mount. I just needed to buy a new disc rotor, but these are relatively inexpensive. Make sure you use the bolts supplied by Swych if you are mounting a new rotor on, or swapping it over, as these are the correct length. The next job is to swap over the tyre and inner tube from your old wheel. That's obviously just a case of removing tyre and inner tube from the old wheel and swapping it onto the new motor wheel supplied by Swych. After you've done that, you'll be ready to pop the motor wheel into your bike, taking care that the disc brakes or rim brakes are lined up. Take care tightening up the nuts. Make sure the torque washers fit snugly into the dropouts on both sides of the fork. The next part of the installation is to fit the magnet disc around the pedal crank on the opposite side to your chain wheel. Your bottom bracket design may or may not need the securing arm that cable ties around the crank, the pedal crank. My bike did need this because it's got an extra large external bottom bracket, but either way it's a fairly simple process. Moving on to the battery mounting. If you have the smaller size of the two handlebar sizes that are common, you'll need the large plastic washers to clamp the battery interface to, taking care to also fit the restraining strap underneath the handlebar stem. Initially, fit the mounting bracket pointing slightly upwards, allowing for some stretch in the restraining strap when you finally tighten the bolts up. It's now time to connect up the motor and the battery, which you can do by neatly cable tying the power lead to the fork and repeating a similar process for the sensor connection. You can do a final system check just by spinning the pedals. The pedal sensor has a neat little light that flashes to show if it's picking up the signal from the magnetic rotator. Throttle systems don't require this, of course. I did a final weighing showing the bike at 20.1 kilos, 44.3 pounds. That's a modest weight gain of 4.45 kilos or 9.8 pounds. The Swych Universal Conversion Kit really was a joy to use, even with the power turned off as on flatter terrain here. It also makes it much easier to conquer hills, of course, even on steeper hills like this, in a low gear and in a lower power setting. For more speed up steeper sections you can simply dial up the power, spin a bit faster and off you go. It's a really smooth and nippy motor to use around town, whether you're on a bike path or whether you're negotiating busier traffic. I found it really helpful for me to be able to keep up with fast moving urban traffic, something that would require a lot more effort on a non-electric bike. I also wanted to see how the extra weight affected the handling, but fast descents like this felt really stable. The kit also gave the bike a new lease of life off-road, whether it's on modest trail hills like this in a low power level or on steeper hills. I found the controls on the battery pack simply laid out, with an on-off button and a battery capacity meter on the left and an indicator on the right showing which of the 5 power levels you've selected. You can toggle up and down the power levels using the buttons on top of the pack. A long press on the top button also turns on the integrated light. Removing the battery pack is easily done with the push of a button. The battery mount itself is secured against the downward weight of the battery by a security strap, and this threads under the handlebar stem. I found it worked very well. The pedal sensor system worked very smoothly and responds very quickly to your pedalling action, and I was also impressed with how quiet and powerful the motor was up the hills. The motor makes a small amount of noise, but it's barely audible. So what can we say about the Swych Universal e-bike kit in summary? Well, it's given this much loved bike a new lease of life. I've really loved using the motor powers up the hills and into headwinds. It's smooth power, it's quiet, and it also works very well with these 8 hub gears that I already had on the bike. So I'm really looking forward to going off on some hilly tours, carrying a full camping load. Although if I'm going off for long days, I'd probably get an extra battery. It's an easy kit to install with just the 3 main elements: the motor wheel, the battery and the pedal sensor, or if you're in the US you can opt for a throttle instead of the pedal sensor. So really you shouldn't be too long from getting the kit out of the box onto the bike and riding away on it. It was easy even on quite a relatively complicated bike like this with disc brakes and external bottom bracket bearings. There's a few things you might want to look at. Just check the motor wheel size before you order, if you're going to order, and the wheel colour size, but there's a good detailed section on Swych's website telling you just how to size your wheel. For this larger battery option, adding just over 4 kilos to the bike, it seemed well worth the extra weight, the extra power, and the performance was well worth adding 4 kilos for. I also like the fact if you take the battery off or if you turn the power off, it doesn't really stop you riding the bike as a regular bike. There isn't any noticeable extra drag from the front hub wheel. Even compared to before the bike was installed, I couldn't really tell a lot of difference riding it to the regular bike without the motor kit. It looks a very well made kit, good quality connectors, good quality canvas bag housing to the battery. And it's also encouraging that the company's actually been developing the kit over a number of years, so I've every confidence it should continue to work well. In short, it's a light kit, it's fast and it's fun. Thanks for watching. You can click the link below to subscribe, and hope to see you next time.